Welcome back. I hope that you've woken up bright and early just for today's action. If not, if you're just crawling out of bed, maybe you're still in bed. Well, we're going to get you up and moving. We're going to get your heart racing today. It is the second day of the Talon Cup, our first Overwatch broadcast for 2025. Thanks to COWZA, a lot of work behind the scenes, and us here on the desk, bringing you the best of our community cup style events. Myself, Ultrism, and Sun Phoenix next to me. Yesterday was an exciting day. I think today offers some treats for us, Sun.
Yeah, yesterday was kind of a teaser, if you like. I mean, a very long teaser. There were, 5 games, I think it was yesterday. So plenty of Overwatch action for your viewing pleasure. And we got to kind of get a sense of the lay of the land in terms of which teams are strong, which teams are not as strong, which players we're going to be looking out for. And today we're going to see the culmination of all of those various storylines that were kind of teased to us yesterday. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see, obviously, by the end of the day, we'll know who the Talon Cup champion is. We'll have 5 new Overwatch 2 champions, which is always exciting to see. And we're also going to maybe see some brand new players kind of excelling and making stars out of themselves. And that's one of the most fun things about these pug style tournaments, is that players we don't know as well, players who get lost in the malaise of their own competitive teams, have an opportunity here to shine and show off their skills, sometimes in a different role or sometimes in their own role in a different way.
A lot of this tournament is about making connections, right? Whether it's us with the community and you guys getting to see new players, or the people playing in the tournament getting to make some new friends along the way as well. You know, they learn something from someone more experienced from themselves, or find someone younger or new to the scene that could use a bit of a boost, a helping hand, or even just recognition for the stuff that they're doing so well. And there's certainly some players that have jumped out. You know, with the solos and duos style of matchmaking, and the fact that everyone was SR pretty much balanced at about 3,040 at the beginning of the day, we really had no idea going into this. And so there has been like moments of brilliance and overall themes. Aggression has played a big part of this. How well a team is able to go and execute one specific game plan preemptively with nice coordination, you know, do the same thing well. And I want to know from you, what was your general thoughts of the day, of like the style of Overwatch, knowing that these are random people coming together? What stood out to you? Who stood out to you?
I think what stood out to me is that, as you say, success kind of came from setting the tempo, right? The team we saw that was the best yesterday was the team Tank, and they were a team that were very proactive with swapping to different heroes to counter what they think their enemy wanted to do right off the bat, and also what they think would push them to the most success. And they also had completely different styles of play that really stood out. But most importantly, the style that worked best for them against the team they were playing, Team 1, was a very, very chaotic, aggressive style, really hard to synergize. And what stood out to me about that was it was 2 players who had queued up as duos who were doing all the damage, right? It was Solaris and Apricornicus working together as a kind of painful duo for Team 1's backline to try and handle, and it kind of dismantled Team 1's whole game plan, which was a lot about Salmon, Raven, and Blaine, all this big triumvirate making space for each other, with the supports keeping Salmon alive to be a nuisance on the front line, while Raven pulled pressure from the sides and the back. So that was awesome to see. We watched Team 1 Ultrism in their first game and thought, wow, this is the standard right here, right? This is the team to beat. And the very next game, they were beaten. So that's kind of the fun thing about it.
So as well.
And
like,
comfortably so, exactly. 3-0, dominant in moments from Tank. So those are the teams I think we're going to be looking out for throughout the day. Tank and Team 1, we're going to be keeping track of where they are, how they're doing, and what they're able to accomplish. Players-wise, Apricornicus, Solaris, they are big standouts for me. That whole Tank squad, I think, is a lot of playmakers, a lot of skilled players. And then across the board, we've got some other players who want to keep an eye out. Guys like Fable, those kind of players who are kind of showing up on the scene. And of course, like we mentioned Salmon already, he's always a player you want to keep an eye on. A player you know very well, Super BH as well, hoping he can push his team towards some better results today. But in general, that's the kind of things we're going to be looking out for. We're going to be comparing the team performances from yesterday to today, seeing how teams are improving, what's getting worse. And on top of that, we've also got to remember that we might have a few substitutes showing up throughout the day that will affect results as well. So yeah, we'll a lot of interesting storylines. But for me, Team 1, Tank, the pinnacle right now, prove us wrong.
Right. Do we actually have the graphics of the final standings from yesterday? Because that's really nice. Today we go into the brackets, right? Yesterday was just all about the groups, and 2 groups, 7 teams split across it. The main things you need to know, the top 2 from each group go into the upper bracket today. The bottom 2 from Group A and the bottom 1 from Group B, they go straight into the lower bracket. So they've already lost that lifeline. So Tank and Team 1 were the 2 that you highlighted right now. And that's fantastic. Tank was dominant, as you said. And I kind of feel like they outthought their opponents. They outdrafted them. They out-synergized. They came up with different game strats as a meta to deal with whatever situation they were struggling with. It was really good to see. Otherwise, Team 1, presented a lot of difficult situations. They were just really strong. And we kind of worked our way up in terms of intensity over the day. Our first 2 games were really like close affairs. We got to see Aura, Talk Starters, Orange Fan Club, and Marvel's Rivals, and all of them were like really strong middle range teams. They were doing everything well. They were their battles of half a second that decided it, and yet their Tank and Team 1 just seemed to like be one step ahead of them, which gives us a very interesting bracket for today. Obviously, Freaky and Rivals being our last game of yesterday. Freaky really struggled, and that's the Super BH team that you talked about. I'd love to get to see Super BH play something like the Junker Queen. The one map he played that, he looked phenomenal and lived up more to his style of play than the dive. So our upper brackets, the people with a 2-life journey up ahead today, Tank versus Marvel's Rivals. I think Rivals is in for a tough affair there. Yeah. And Orange Fan Club versus Team 1. You mentioned Team 1 there, and then one else left at the bottom.
Yeah, I think that Orange Team 1 will be a very, very interesting game to keep an eye on the result for. We'll be starting in the lower bracket with our first match, Freaky versus Tox, I believe. So that's an interesting match. I think it's really, really tough to call, because obviously they would have come from different groups. There are a bunch of random players, but Talk Starters has had a difficult day yesterday. 0-3 in their 3 matches. And here's what they look like. Kama, Token, Lord of Terran, Toxin, Sox, and Leilu. And this was the kind of team, I think, that fooled us into thinking Team 1 was this untouchable juggernaut altruism. Kama and Token is your DPS, obviously. Lord of Terrans and Tox on the tank and support, and Leilu on the other support as well. We'll be looking mostly at Lord of Terran and Tox here. Altruism, they are the 2 standout players with the most experience, but Kama, no slouch on that hit scan either, as well as the other players. So this is a team that was typified by Terran playing out of his skin, being a huge nuisance in the back line, trying to dominate the enemy supports, making space for his DPS, and the team not seemingly being able to capitalize on all the space he was making for them. So we're going to be looking to that today. Is that typical of their games, and had it been throughout the whole day yesterday, and will it continue today, or have they been able to figure something out? Now, to be clear, we don't expect teams to go back and scrim throughout the night, and we expect them to kind of sigh and go sleep or play something else, and then come back in the morning and go again. But that reset can kind of make a big difference to players' mentalities and potential synergies as well.
Well, you talked about Lord of Terran and Tox and Sox queued up together. They're both very experienced, and that was that core dynamic, that central point that they could always fight around. And they were doing a great job at that. But the problem was, Kama and Token are both proficient at their role, but there are so many amazing players out here right now. When they went up against something like Fable, it was a very difficult comparison to make for these guys. They were getting the space that they needed to, but they just weren't making the same impact. And just because the other guys are making an insane level of impact. So what I really like to see for the Stock Starter side yesterday was when Kama swapped onto something like the Sombra. and got involved in the fight. If they can fight around Lord of Terran and Tox and Sox and Leilu and actually be like a death brawl, then they, I think, provide a much more aggressive threat to be dealt with. There's still other teams that are going to have answers to that, though. We saw that like counterability of what Tank did yesterday. But it's a good strategy that I think that they could utilize. Going through to our second team, Super BH leading the front line with a very aggressive tank. COWZA, a high risk, high reward player on stuff like the Genji. Chloe can play a pretty consistent presence on the Sojourn, was really nice. And Jason Novatic put up some big ultimates throughout the day yesterday, but it just a 0-2 result for them.
Yeah, they struggled against Marvels. Look, the game against Marvel's Rivals wasn't bad for them. They ended up taking one of those maps. They came close on Circuit Royale, Altruism, if we remember. And Suravasa, they absolutely dominated. But it's a team that seems to excel at one style that isn't ubiquitous, right? And that style is pump resources into Super BH and let him go absolutely crazy, right? A common style in South African Overwatch, it seems, because Salmon operates within the same mold, but it seems like when he's forced onto something different, like the dive, for example, again, like with Lord of Terrans, and it's kind of fun, we have these two teams up against each other here. Super BH is excellent. Super BH will make you a ton of space. He will put pressure on the enemy backline, and he will make himself a real threat to deal with, right? But it seems like with Lord of Terrans and the rest of the Tokstada squad, the rest of the team is struggling to take advantage of that. So we're going to keep an eye on Super BH versus Lord of Terrans Altruism for sure. But as much as anything, it's about what Chloe can play and COWZA can do versus what the DPS on the other side can do as well. So that's going to be a very interesting dynamic, because we've got top level supports on both of these teams. Jace, Novatic, Queen, decent competitive experience both. Tox and Leilu, decent competitive experience both, alongside two very competitive and experienced tanks. Of course, Lord of Terror has a lot more experience than Super BH, but Super BH at this point, he's played a good chunk of tournaments. So very similar dynamics between the two teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a general thread throughout the day. In fact, that was my big takeaway from yesterday, was that as we move on to look at the map pool, of course, we're going to be starting on Control. We always do. Nepal, Lijiang, and Samoa. I'm so glad that we've changed up from yesterday, because Oasis got no love. This gives us a lot more diversity. And then across the rest of the game modes, it's, of course, 1st to 3 for everything. Maybe the finals 1st to 4? Question mark. But we'll clarify that. Don't worry. We'll have that answer by the end of the day. For now, 1st to 3, we start on Lijiang Tower, a very diverse intricate map. But I want to just finish off something before we chat about this map itself. The general theme seems to be everyone's staying alive for a long time. The tanks are brawling it out for a long time. The poke phase is going on forever. Even the after the first pick, there's still a lot of drawn out fights. And it means that the supports are staying alive. They're doing a great job of keeping themselves safe. The tanks are not overextending. They're flexing really well. It comes down to the DPS and who can make those impactful angles, off angles, get 1 or 2 big picks, or who's wasting a Suzu. That's the sort of delineation. So that's the general theme for today. If a DPS can pop off and do stupid things, their team has a good shot of winning.
I think it makes sense when you think about who the tanks have been as well. All of the tanks are experienced competitive players, right? We've got the likes of Salmon, we've got the likes of Lord of Terrans and Super BH here. A lot of the tanks are players who are very competitively experienced, who know how to operate in a competitive frame, and it's paying off for these teams. So that's kind of the nature of tank, though. You are making space for everybody else, right? There's only so much you can do as a tank, and we underestimate, I think, Altruism, how often we see tanks pop off. You look at just Rooms, you look at Super BH, Salmon in the past. When those players are popping off like that, there is so much we're not seeing about what everybody else is doing around them. And that's kind of being revealed to us here, maybe, or made clear to us, Altruism, because we all understand that it's a team game. There are 5 players on each team. They all need to contribute to win, right? And of course,
how do they contribute?
Exactly. Yeah. The DPS have the sexy moments where they pop off and they show up in the kill feed, and the supports obviously have a lot more of an understated role with often big utility. But the tanks are kind of often the ones dictating the flow of play, but they need the team to come to the table. So both of these teams will want to address that in some way, at least, coming into this first lower bracket match.
And this is where I like to see something like a big impactful tank in the hands of someone who can do something with it. So Super BH coming out on the Junker Queen is a really nice sign. I want this. Like, I'm excited. I think in this matchup as well, has a lot of space to work. You know, Lord of Terran is going to have a hard time dealing with the Junker Queen, not going to be able to avoid a big slash at stages. Karma's going to have a very impactful role coming out on that Sombra that I talked about. You know, fight around Lord of Terror and Toxin Sox, Parasox, very mobile support's going to be able to follow you and get involved. And Token looking for a big cheeky play against the counterpart of Chloe can play. And COWZA, a big pair of shotguns will certainly help BH confirm any kills.
Yeah, well, Terry needs to be careful though how he plays that. I think we saw him yesterday played very well into, I believe it was, Salmon's Junker Queen, using the zone around the Junker Queen not to go down, but Karma, he finds that first pick onto COWZA in the background. A great start for top starters.
Then they can get the hack onto the Junker Queen afterwards, just eliminating these targets and big targets at the beginning of it. That's a very patient period of play coming out from top starters, but quite a definitive one.
Yeah, very, very well played. And that's kind of the perfect start for a Sombra lineup, right? She can go around the angles, someone gets low, and she can just snipe them. That's like, you know, the canonical ideal for a Sombra player, as we see Super putting the pressure on here, but Kama takes down that, he finds an opening kill once again now.
Kama is waiting for that moment. Did you see that hack come out mid-axe?
Yeah.
That's what stopped that. That's what killed Super BH in that moment. If he could have gotten the slash on through the monkey, that would have been plenty enough healing. You could have shouted and got out of there. But the hack coming through at that moment is making life so difficult for these people who want to brawl. And suddenly their abilities are gone and they're taking a chunk of damage. BH wants to go around the left, tracks the Moira through the fade. Manages to pick up one. That's a big kill. Forces the Sombra out of the fight. Now I can turn the attention to these people fighting in the tiny corridors. Sorry there, Token. You were looking down the wrong corridor as BH rampaged in from the side. Not in the most literal sense, obviously. But Big Monkey still hanging around, making it difficult to contest a point. Picks up one on Chloe can play. BH would probably like to retreat back out, but reinforcements coming in now from Tokstarters. Freaky, you've got work to do, and there's some angry people looking to chase you down.
I mean, this is such incredible strategic play from top starters. They just ignored Super BH. Who can't ignore him now, though? He comes through with the rampage, finds one with the knife. Parasox down, healing now, limited just to Lucio left as they look pushing forward. Super BH, another knife kill. We know how good he is with those. He can phase them through reality itself, but he's got the shotgun to get the job done. The axe as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give him number 5. Last man standing. It is going to be the Winston. Will Super BH secure it?
Yes,
it's 5.
Super BH proving why when he takes on an aggressive character, he can make an absolute maniac difference through the fights. Absolutely love it. But certainly everyone coming in at the right time. He backs up far enough, and he put the pressure that Tokstarters seemed to need to throw everything that they could into that. Big problem there was Tokstarters kept control of the point the whole time, and are coming back in with an explosion of EMP-led chaos. Now going to be bringing in the Coalescence just to top everyone up and finish everyone off. 98%. Freaky came back with a great fight on the back of Super BH, but I don't know how much they're going to be able to even contest this point. Tokstarters unleashed everything.
I mean, this has been the most clinical performance we've seen so far from a team, Altruism, in terms of what Tokstarters has shown on map number 1 here. The plan is so clearly just ignore Super BH, right? Let him do his thing. Let him kill 3-4 people. We're going to kill everybody else. And once we're done with that, unless we can find a quick pick on him with a hack or something like that, he pushes too far forward, we'll punish. But it seems like the game plan was just go find the targets we need to kill, you know, cripple his backline, and then once we're done with that, we can kill him. Now, obviously, the team fight Freaky 1 was off the back of Super BH's ultimate, right? And that's going to happen, right? He's a strong player. He can pick up all 5 kills in a team fight, and he will do that to you sometimes. But Tokstar is really, really good at identifying how they wanted to play this and executing on that. And it's really, really off the back of Kama's Sombra.
Yeah, Kama Sombra has been impactful. We called it at the beginning. Now Freaky going for a little bit more of a sustained fight out on the back of this battle cattle. Orisa comes out and is able to do so much damage. Also mitigates so much. Enjoys that extra bit of healing to stay in the fight. Gets 1 kill, but unfortunately everyone behind him had to retreat out, and so he loses the sustain, and Freaky lose the fight as a result.
Yeah, and there's so much more congruency here between COWZA squads today when compared to their squad, their compositions yesterday, right? You can see who's moving around with Lord of Terrence. Lord of Terrence has also changed his playstyle a bit. He's not going so aggressive into the backline. He's focused as much on working with his Sombra and pouncing on the hacks, or Mr. Hookman coming out. The Super BH wants to take matters into his own hands.
Kind of like this flavor. This is very Super BH. Just monkey dives out the way and saves their life, but leaves the backline now completely exposed for Freaky to make a bit of aggressive play there. His second hook comes out and confirms the kill on a very elusive Moira. It's just a Toxin Socks, of course, on this infamous Lucio buying time on the point. Just buying time is all it's going to be. 38, 39%. All at 40% that Freaky gives up, but they've taken it with a risky play here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you don't play Winston into this surely, and Lord of Terrence, he does switch onto the Junker Queen now. He's going to try and show Super BH how it's done. A very adept Junker Queen, has to be said. I think it's one of, if not his favorite hero outside of the Winston, but here they go aggressive with the Kitsune Rush from Freaky.
Lord of Terrence still wants to hang around. He's quite deep into this. Unfortunately, he's kind of now isolated as Q-Wub cleans up the back line, and she's done a spectacular timing there in that push to be able to clinch that fight. Freaky comfortable and now setting with resources.
I think Tank did so well yesterday, Altruism, was being able to adapt to problems that their opponents were giving them, right? And now it's a question of, can COWZA do the same? What a huge Shuzu, though, keeps around a culti, but just a little bit longer with the hack. We'll see what the deal with the background is evaporating.
Q-Wub has such an awareness for where this Junker Queen is and where everyone else is looking to be able to go through there. Tox may have Ajax. He's switched. We don't know what the ultimate charge was. We cannot confirm nor deny that. But the big moment there, that Suzu kept the Road Dog alive for so long and baited Tostadas in, and Q wants him again, just decimating that backline.
Been so good at it here. Overcharge at the ready, token ready to pop off. We'll pop it now, but both teams using the Overcharger. A big anti-heal, not able to find anything. The Suzus have been excellent, and now the background is under a lot of pressure here. Never mind, the front line just minced in the blender.
Absolutely love this game plan coming out from Freaky. Isolate Lord of Terrence, put them behind us. They're not going to kill everyone. It's kind of what the Toxadas did to Super BH's Junker Queen eventually. But we're going to kill everyone behind you, and they've done it time and time again with this flanking Reaper. Oh, that's a big pick coming out there. Token wins the duel. Toxin Socks now in behind with the Kuriko. Gets 1 pick, gets a lot low, gets a second pick. Now it's a isolated front line coming out here from Freaky. They don't have a lot of sustain, the 2 characters that can on their own, and diced up quickly enough at the last moment.
I mean, Tox, that was such a heads-up play for him. Somebody had to touch, right? The game ends if he doesn't get the touch right there. And on top of that, he's able to secure a couple of free picks in the backline as well. So really heads-up play from Tox. Interested to see that they're not pushing through that corridor. I think they want to bait them in to give space for Terranor to use his ultimate. As Super BH says, okay, I'll take this fight, no problem. As he switches on to the Junker Queen of his own. The big question is here, can they force the Suzu so that Terranor can use his ultimate?
Suzu's out, Junker Queen ult comes out, walled up. It's just Super BH that's suffering from this, and somehow is still alive. We always can't count him out. Somehow again is still alive, and the counter comes through. Karma token. They've wreaked havoc in the backline. Q-Wub trying to repeat it for the 3rd time. Gets no kills out of it. Chloe shows up with a quick double kill to end the fight. BH, I say the end of the fight. BH is still here. Karma's going to have a bomb to delay this for as long as possible, but Freaky ready to touch. They're ready to go in. They want to put the aggression. Bob is going to go out, and that's the last thing that Karma manages to contribute to this fight. Nice sleep and anti-heal, but Anna alone on the point. Just get rid of the Bob. There's a Doomfist coming through here. Lord of Terrence is ready to play.
He's here to try and contest, but he's running out of friends. He goes down as well. It's just the Juno on point now. Not long for this world. Will get taken down eventually, and that will be it for this map. Unless somebody can get a touch, overtime will take down very quickly, and nobody really in position. So it will be Freaky taking control center and bringing us to a 1-1 score. But the key there, that Maywell was not great, was not ideal, we should say. But they caught I think the only player they needed to catch. But they couldn't follow up and secure that kill, right? Really, really incredible support play from Freaky to keep Super BH, because he pulled back into that little room there, got Suzu, got healed up. And ended up not dying, but he lost a lot of teammates around him. So you can see there the energy and the effort they put into keeping that tank alive over some of the other teammates who are a bit squishier. And him being alive is such a key part of Freaky winning team fights. And again, we see the adaptability here. Back onto the Roadhog, they know Lord of Terrans will come out the door here on the Winston, and so they're just going to counter that blind.
Yeah, at this stage, the decisiveness of Super BH's trades and swaps have been pivotal. The Suzus have been so on point. Big shout out to Jace there on a lot of these plays where he said COWZA's killing people, and again, the team just working so synergistically right now. And like you say, just reading the game from before the spawn doors open. They managed to get the crossfire going. Chloe picks up that kill, and Chloe is such a decisive part of that winning fight at the end there as well, picking up the double kill that led to the opening. Every one of this Freaky member, team members is doing what they're asked to be done. Doing what's being asked and more, really.
Yeah, it's been very, very impressive here for the last map in a bit. I like the Sombra from Kama. I wish he would go back onto that. I feel like it synergizes much better with the Winston, but Lord Terrans is now on the D.Va, a much, much better pick against the Roadhog. We'll see if they can steal some kills, but Tox, I think, getting aggressive, looking for a boop or something. Oh no, Lord Terrans on cooldown, and he'll get sent into the drink.
Again, so many just quick burst opportunities that Freaky offers here. Whether it's Chloe can play from above with a couple of good rockets, or a boop, Super BH with that hook, a couple of nice headshots from Jace puts pressure, and QWOW always lurking to pick someone off. Everyone's kind of got this area covered, and this is such a cheeky Roadhog map because of the ability to hook people down in the world. Looking for something now, misses it. D.Va still had that on cooldown. They've read where the team is going, and they've got a barrage waiting to be unleashed in any tight corridors.
Got the D.Va though, so it's never easy to barrage, but she's going to go around the back now. Look for it. Chloe finds one hit, finds two. She's got the Mercy, but it's not going to be enough to keep them alive. Kama finds that kill. Look to track down the Mercy. Valk is going here for Novatic Queen, so they will try and use that to secure some teamfight wins, but here comes the Kitsune rush.
Yeah, they want to burn this D.Va back as quickly as possible. It mitigates so much. Can't get their Death Blossom off. So Super BH says, you know what? Mine's the least valuable. Fortunately, Token with that replicator realized Reaper, such a powerful character, can throw away the life, gets the ultimate off, and now ready to come back and finish off whatever's left there. Freaky held for a long time, but the loss of that Pharah at the key moment, the waste of the ultimates, a couple of ultimates expended there.
Yeah, it was definitely winnable in spite of Farah's death, but unfortunately that Reaper ulti from Token on the Echo kind of just ended it. They killed Novatic Queen. It was a really, really great nano boost from Parasox to make sure she could get in rather, and sort that out. But now they're pushing here. No ults really outside of QWOW's Death Blossom to try and find the kill here into the back line, but not feeling comfortable to just pop it there. I think the right decision with all the pressure.
Yeah, at this stage, this D.Va is the big problem again, and once more now manages to track down QWOW, Lord of Terrans, being such a pivotal part of this team and really showing up right now to be able to contest this to the end. Tox has gone to the Mercy, that res and that consistent healing going to be pivotal against this big brawly style as BH has swapped to the Romacha. Freaky still have the percentage, so they're going to have a couple of fights to go, but Toxstarders seem to have found their footing, and it's on the back of this D.Va.
Yeah, absolutely. D.Va, I maintain, one of the strongest heroes in the game. She's just so good at mitigating damage. And I compare it to a midfielder in football. You can attack, you can defend, you can be where you need to be if you're paying attention. And in that way, she's got so much potential power. Self-destruct available. Good QWOW. Still looking for this ultimate. Can't you find the Death Blossom? This looks good, but she's spotted out once again.
Telegraphed, and the decision not to go through with it. It drags the attention of everyone else, but they've stabilized well. QWOW gets chased at the end of that Wraith form, and so they're not going to be able to drop that ultimate at all in this fight unless it comes in very late. We'll yet to see it. These fights do drag on. Super BH has found the Mercy, decides to pop the ultimate, and Mercy out of range turns their attention to the rest of the back line. There's a Diva who's kept one along. COWZA's come back into the fight, picks up one. The rest is still there to keep the support duo intact here for Tokstarters, so they can drag this out for as long as they want. Freaky, on the other hand, they've got as many as they need to, but this is last fight territory. 99% for Tokstarters, and they just need to stay alive. One person longer than their opponents, unfortunately. Freaky continues to show versatility. BH back on, and the Doomfist is wreaking too much havoc. Copy on the Doomfist comes out, but you got to be practiced at this character if you want to try and make it work. Does manage to confirm one of the two low HP targets, but QWOV going to be able to come back in there. Token tries for the duplicate, immediately cancelled out, and eventually Freaky comes out the victors.
Tokstarters had so many resources to work with here. Can anybody get the touch? They should be able to get in there. The Doomfist setting up to get in does so. Touches just in the nick of time, but SuperBH in the enemy backline. Parasox taken out, and it should be over from here. Altruism, Toxin Socks going to drop low. The Coalescence making sure any kills that come through can be secured, and that's going to be it for game number 1. Freaky finding what they needed at the last moment there. The SuperBH Doomfist, too strong. I feel your pain, guys.
What do you mean his Doomfist? He was playing, what, 8 different characters in that round?
I mean, his Doomfist just got them over the line, that's what I mean, right?
It was.
You know how I feel about that hero, Altruism? Your PTSD, right? It takes all my attention whenever it shows up.
It really does, and taking attention seemed to be the name of the game there for BH the whole way through. Whenever they could bait in Tokstarters just a little bit too much, they made BH just stick out there on like 12 HP and throw everything that you can to bounce that up into like triple digits at some stages. And then someone like QWOV coming in from the back line, they've got that 1-2 punch, that flow of the team fight, and the ability to find those little picks and consistent damage from Chloe and threat from whether it's the Pharaoh or the Surgeon. They were able to read the flow so well, and they made very few mistakes, whereas there were a couple of mistakes or desperate plays, I feel like, that came out. Maybe 1 or 2 that were just instrumental, decisive at the wrong moments, that Tokstarters could have fleshed out a little bit more.
There's not a lot between these teams, though, we have to admit. I think Tokstarters looked absolutely dominant on that first map, right? Marketplace, Night Market rather. They looked like they were going to run away with it, right? Potentially. The playing off the back of the Winston from Lord of Terrans and Kama Sombra, they were excellent at a Scalpel, at slicing into the enemy backline, dealing with the targets that need to be dealt with, and then coming back and making sure SuperBH wasn't totally killing the whole team. Of course, there was that one fight where he did get all 5 off the back of an excellent ultimate. But if you can control, if you've got a tank, a superstar like SuperBH or your Salmons or your whoever's, dealing with the backline is really how you deal with those frontline players. So they did that so well. But obviously, control center, it kind of is typified by a huge compositional shift and playstyle shift, and that worked in favor of SuperBH, who we know really excels at that brawly style. And then the third map, back and forth, kind of played into both teams' potential strengths. But what stands out here, Altruism, is obviously the adaptability of especially SuperBH, right?
Yeah.
Roadhog. When was the last time we saw Roadhog on cast? It's been months and months and months and years and years and years, it feels like, since we saw that hero actually operate with any efficacy. But that's what SuperBH brings to the table. What's going to work here? Is it meta? Who cares, right? I need to get a job done here, and his job, he felt, was to deal with Terran Lord on that monkey. And once he had done that, the whole game plan crumbled, and we knew that would happen with Tokstarters because Terran Lord is such a big part of their success.
That was definitely the key part of it. The rest of Freaky seems to offer quite a nice stable baseline to work from. Chloe is going to be on the Sojourn pretty much most of the matches. QWOV is going to go between the Genji and the Reaper, but it means that and the supports are pretty consistent as well. I think they ran the Ana the whole way through that. When you've got that sort of like baseline to work from and basic game plan, you can then show the adaptability on the one key role that you need to answer the rock, paper, scissors of tank. I mean, it's obviously not clear cut like that. There's a lot that comes down to execution. But like you say, a specific, very important job needs to be done. And SuperBH puts up his hand and says, right, I'm going to do it. And pulls out, like you say, a Roadhog, not just because the Roadhog is good, but because he can play the Roadhog well as well. so that sort of adaptability. And then backed up well. The supports were there. I mentioned the Suzus that came out to keep him every anti-heal was basically taken care of for most of the team every time it was available. It was never wasted. So really strong foundation backed up by that adaptability has given them a lot to work with, and that's a lot of what Control needs. We now go across to the rest of the series, of course, guys. Damn, why do we always start off so high-paced there, Sun Phoenix? We're going to Junket Town.
It's early morning, Ultras, and teams are kind of feeling themselves out here, getting warmed up into the game. So we kind of sometimes see, as people's mentals crack as well, we kind of see performances skew towards one team or another sometimes. But this is a different beast now. Junket team, our payload map, our escort map. It's typified on the first point by long sight lines. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Kama come out of the gate with that Widowmaker or the Ash, something along those lines. The Sojourns should get very comfortable purchase here, but we are going to have to keep an eye on what the tanks do. I hope we see Kama and Terran Lord hook up together on the Winston and the Sombra again at some point, if not out the door, then at least once we get to the streets phase, if we get there. And then I'm just to see the complexion that Freaky bring here, especially Super PH. How does he want to start things off here? Because that's going to tell us a lot of where his head is at in terms of what he thinks is strong. Because we saw him hop onto the Orisa a little bit in Control Center to try and brawl with, which is a very interesting pick. We haven't seen that at all throughout the days, pretty much play yesterday. So it is going to be the Sigma, pretty typical of this map, I'd have to say. And both teams, in fact, going to be running this style. It's Circle Royale all over again.
That's exactly what I was going to say. As soon as you mentioned long sightlines, I just did a little twitch from yesterday where out of our 5 games, I think Circuit Royale came out 4 of them. And we got to see
at least
worldwide.
Every game I cast had Circuit Royale.
It was madness, and it was just again these people wanting to take the Widow jewels constantly, and that would be today. Today's option is Junket Town, and I'm glad to see Super BH on the Sigma. I didn't like the flavor of his dive yesterday. It's not Super BH to me. So Sigma, really nice. He can get a lot of value. We've seen these Sigmas stay alive for the longest period, and that shield just gives your team the sight lines that they need. The pick. Kama gets the second shot as the Sigma shield drops for half a second, and Huo gonna now come back as the rest of Freaky just trying to stay alive against the aggression coming out now from Tostatus.
Terran Lord needs to be careful here, moving aggressive to try and secure kills on the enemy backline. We saw him do that yesterday on the Sigma against Blaine's Widowmaker, but he's got a bit more space to work with now that Kama did pick up that opening kill. Ultimate slowly building out Token will find another Jace going down. That should be team fight pretty much over here with one healer down. That's an aggressive movement. He will pay for it in the end. So a bit of an error there from Token.
A lot of deployables that Toxtatus needs to worry about as they move forward, and giving away your position for them, not worth it. They do manage to pick up the big kill on Super BH, and I mean, that's all the damage mitigation. That's all the shields gone. Now it's just a shooting gallery. Even Toxin Socks charges up a bolt, and Freaky Fall that picks, that instrumental pick at the beginning, just kind of crumbled everything into an avalanche.
This is a very, very strong performance from the top starters DPS players, which is something we had some questions about coming into today's play. But they popped off in this team fight. Token picked up a couple with the Sojourn, and obviously we've already waxed lyrical about that opening pick. He's got the overcharge now. Token does, so they can look to find kills. But Kiwav says, I can play the Widowmaker as well, and they'll sort that opening pick out.
In typical position where everyone's grouped in this narrow doorway, door not closing behind them just yet, so maybe Freaky wants to take half a step back and pincer in these opponents, but they're quite happy to play out in the open. They're wanting to hold that line. Super BH though, the trade coming out, and Token again, the Tokstada DPS finding the better of those jewels and allowing for more pressure. Token gonna find another one. Absolutely instrumental. It was quiet yesterday, but showing up in today's match.
Yeah, doing a very, very good job on Junket Queen here, especially. This Ilaria is not working out for me. I love the hero, and I played it quite a lot, but she has her place, and she offers very little in terms of utility. She makes a lot of sense in a lineup where you're looking to poke. She offers that poke in high amounts as well as a lot of healing, but I think you might be better off with something like what Tox is running here, Zenyatta. But here comes the Gravitic Flux.
Gravitic Flux with the Discord Orb and a couple of shots on top of it, going to be great. But DPS now starting to show up from Freaky, flexing their legs, taking out a 3 at the beginning of this fight. Opens up some room for everyone else to get back in. And Nova's there. There's been a nice shot over the top. The Ilari, maybe the last moments for this character in this game if they want to swap off. But Jay's showing that ultimate at least, making it worthwhile. Q1 wins the duel! Just stamping that authority. Freaky DPS are not going to be outclassed.
Yeah, forces the res out there, but QR, this is why, Altruism, if you wonder why I don't play Widowmaker, it's because I'm scared of this. I'm scared that I'm going to force the enemy Widowmaker onto Widowmaker, and they're going to embarrass me. And that's kind of what's happening here with Karma. QR has got the better of him on a few occasions. 1, 2, 3, count him up, QR. It doesn't matter what's happening around him. They'll secure the kill in the enemy Widow.
Force out a lot from the opponents. Gravitic Flux traded for Transcendence. Jace falls, which is a big pick and evens things up a little bit more. But Chloe can play also going to be late to rejoin this fight. Is Q-Wov, can you get one more pick? Can you do something for being charged down by a Zenyatta? Damage mode activated and charging as deep as possible. Tox doing Tox things. Still lots of sustain coming out here. For the rest of Freaky. They're managing to get the kills afterwards as well. A little bit of a pistol play at the end there. Parasox says, I'm not going to be outdone. Freaky stabilizing though, and they're just dragging this out. One more. Oh.
Nova Queen is actually the one who switched on to the Zen. I called for the Zen, but I was hoping it would be in place of the Illari. But they've decided that the Illari is working for them. And you know what? I respect it. I've had many games like that. But Chloe, she does now have her ultimate available, the overcharge. But Lord of Terran's the Gravitic Flux. That's going to be key here. He needs to keep track of the accretion cooldown, though. If he gets rocked out of the sky, that'll be very painful for them. They're quite bunched here, so it's a decent opportunity for a big Gravitic Flux. Here it comes.
Flux certainly opens things up, and the sniper lines are down. Q-Wov has been taken out by Tox and Sox, and the rest of Freaky now are going to be pressured into this tiny little corridor. They can stabilize in this corridor pretty well as long as Super BH stays up. That, unfortunately, marks the end of Freaky's hold on point number 2, and Toxtados secure themselves an entrance into the refinery.
I'll be very happy with how this push has gone so far. Stymied a little bit here on the streets phase, but winning fights when they need to, off the back of some very, very strong ultimate usage. Speaking of ultimates though, Freaky coming up to a couple of their own. Chloe still with that ultimate, and Token, he's been definitely the better of the two Sojins. So while they might be losing out on the Widow duel, the Sojin on Toxtados is getting a lot more value than that on Freaky as they look to set up for another team fight.
Might find the Widow changing targets a little bit more, but Tox seems to have it out for them and actually wins the trade. Q1 gets off the first shot, but still goes down. Gravitic Flux thrown out by Super BH once more, picked up off a sliver of HP and holding firm right now to get more time. But Nova Queen takes out Tox and Sox. Somehow the Zenyatta's doing the damage in this. Please, okay. Nova Queen? Okay, we gotta give one more chance.
I think you want to switch off the Widows here, right? I think they don't excel as much. Well, there goes Kama. I was just about to say he got the kill on Jace, but not able to stay alive. But there again, walk against Token. He finds another pick here. Q-Wov, though, will fire back, and this is good for Freaky. Even trades are much better for the defenders than the attackers, and Terran Lord not going to be able to live in this one. So great work once again from Freaky. A very, very neutral fight, except for the Transcendence, which kind of squirted out when we weren't looking.
Yeah, and that opens up a big opportunity now. Toxtados coming in with both of their support ults. They're going to have a Gravitic Flux on in no time, so they've got a confident initiation tool. Chloe, you've got a railgun. You need to do a lot with that. If you
how long has she been holding on to this?
All right, this needs to be the moment right now. Gravitic Flux to start her off, going to throw Nova Queen down, and no confirmation on that kill actually is a big misplay from Toxtados. That's going to allow things to come back in. Q-Wov wins the duel on the Widow, so at least one person going to be able to offer that instant pick, and Super BH with that accretion helps get this out. Transcendence late into the fight to stabilize the 3 people who are left. But I don't know if you're fighting your way back into it. I think Freaky win this.
Hello.
They are going to. They're going to confirm it now with a great soar into the air from Super BH. Catches everyone, and Freaky stand tall against everything that Toxtados had at their advantage. And Chloe still has the ultimate.
That trance was very much a question of, is this fight still winnable or not? And the assessment was in that moment, yes, it is still winnable. But I don't think I agree with that. I think
No.
You're so far back towards your spawn. You pause for 10 seconds and you're back up to full and you go again. But they end up burning that. They do pull out the Sigma ultimate, but I don't know that that's worth. Auto turn's not near his Super BH. He's popping off now. He's hitting his rhythm.
Oh, and he's put up a nice shield up there and completely concentrating everyone down that alleyway. Chloe again struggles, did pop that ultimate and try to make a great angle and catch everyone from behind, and did manage to buy the time for the team as Tokstarters now with only 3 seconds to touch the payload. Lord of Terrans has swapped onto the Doomfist and forced out a Transcendence at least. Jace, the one support going down. So Freaky without all of their sustain right now. Quite a split fight as well. Really concentrating their focus on the doorway, but it leaves the payload, which is still moving, to keep under the possession of Tokstarters. The shot's so close and everyone's HP down to nothing. Tokstarters do take the first couple of losses in the fight, and Lord of Terrans also on diminished HP. Not sure how long he can contest. Gonna get confirmed, and Freaky at least stop this pretty short way down into the factory.
Yeah, they'll be happy with that. Freaky. It looked at the start like they were just going to get run over, but it was an impressive hold from Freaky on that third point. But they set up really nicely on that point. They had a lot of crossfire angles set up, right? They had Chloe on the short right here as we're looking on screen down that little ramp, and they had QOV back on the high ground on the top left behind us here. So really, really effective. And we could see there were times in the middle while they were on the point. We were watching through Token's eyes. Brother was 360 swiveling out there. I don't know how high his sense is, but he wished in that moment that it was twice as high as it was, because there were so many targets all around him. Now, obviously, that's kind of informed by the fact that somebody needed to be on the point. And when you've got a Doomfist, you can't just rely on the tank to set up shop on the point. But it was tough to push in there. But it was also kind of a case of Kama just getting completely outmatched by QOV on the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
I would have switched off that a long time ago. We keep moaning about the Sombra or the lack of it, but I will do it again, and I will beg for that Sombra, because it's such a strong hero. Not as strong as it was, 2-3 patches ago, but strong enough that we saw how dominant this Tokstarter squad could be if they play around that. But they're kind of persisting here with what we would call a meta lineup tank-wise.
You know what? I'm okay with the Widow duel at the beginning here, especially if you're going to just take 1 or 2 shots and see if you can get that opening. I think as we get into closer quarters, we're more likely to see the Sombra. Karma going to lose this one, in fact, and not even to QOV. There goes QOV opening it up. Double kill. One raise is not going to be enough to get your team back to full, and the Tokstarter is quickly going to have to back up. That's just a great angle, and QOV has had a great day on Widow, I've got to say.
Yeah, no, this is a very, very super performance here. What happened to Kama there, though? He got killed by the Sigma. That's not what should be happening in this opening fight. Hello, QOV, once again. Avert your gaze if you're a Kama fan, because he's not having the best of times here in the Widow duel.
Certainly, just patiently waiting, knows which angles are the most important for their opponents to take out, and he's going to hold them for as long as they need to. QOV again, Toxin Socks. I don't know how you keep getting the weird angle on the Zenyatta, but making it work, and now can come into the fight. A fight that's going pretty well for Tokstarters. In fact, super well. They clean up immediately after that.
It's a miracle. Look at what we behold before us here. It is the Sombra from Kama.
Nice.
Goodness. And QOV is like, you know what? I'm going to counter you straight up without even bothering to try and play the Widow into that. Switches onto the Cassidy. We'll have to wait and see how this change in dynamic between the teams affects the performances. But that was a really nice comeback fight from Tokstarters. They were looking to be steamrolled there, but they can absolutely halt the momentum here, and a full hold. If they can keep this up, and Terran Lord, he gets QOV down, and taking that Widowmaker out of play, it changes the dynamic so much between the two teams.
Yeah, right now we're going much more to the Brawl Stars. Karma wants to play around Lord of Terrans, like we said, is so important. And QOV actually decides to match the Sombra right now. Is going okay with the Cassidy, I think. A bit of a salty moment as you get rocked into the Zenyatta. But Great Gravitic Flux to start things off here. Toxtadas, they're leading the charge. They've got the high ground position that they need to just lay this damage in there. Lord of Terrans is comfortable to stay here for as long as they want. Probably want to get rid of that pylon.
Again.
But QWAV, no! You match it and then you diff it once more.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. We don't know what happened there, but the kill feed tells a story, if nothing else. QWAV every time getting the better of Kama here. Kama 69 towards his ulti 70 now, so that EMP coming through pretty soon. But QWAV on the angle. Here comes a lot of ults to help.
Lots of ults. The big one, the Transcendence, going to keep Toxtadas alive for a decent amount of time, but they got pulled into a bad position. They had most of their HP drained through that, and so, you know, they limped out of that Transcendence. At the end of that Freaky, they're going to run forward. They still had Super BH on 25% HP, plenty to work with.
Yeah, and Lord of Terrans is very, very low by comparison. They did lose Jace here, so Super BH will have to be a little bit careful, but feels confident going forward, knowing his limits as well as he does. They do look to contest here. Terran Lord did get the HP and will now look to get back into the fray here. Close towards his ultimate. He finds one kill. Can they find any more? QWAV, though, will take down Quav during the overcharge.
This must be so frustrating for Freaky. They just want to clear this point. They want to push it the last little bit, and Super BH, as it goes on to confirm more space, has to now turn around and come back towards the team straight away again into the aggression, though. And looking for the Invisible Sombra, knows that the better target right now is this Toxin Sox Zen, who has been very impactful when has the space, but has to have the silent footsteps away.
Yeah, kind of floating away, as it were. No Widowmaker for Tox to get easy kills off, so unfortunately for him, so he'll be ruining that. But we do have the overcharge. We've got EMPs on both sides. This could be a question of who gets the EMP off first.
Gravitic Flux, I think, was cancelled there with a weird rock underneath, and then even manages to confirm the kills. Lord of Terrans just always in a inopportune place here for where Freaky needs to be playing or wants to be playing, and how
hello.
Just chase down whatever's left. Absolutely ruthless.
That was a disaster for Freaky. They committed the Gravitic Flux, and on top of that, they committed the EMP into it, and they still didn't secure the teamfight win. So that's a lot of teamfight winning ultimates down, especially that EMP. And now Kama can look to secure his own teamfight win with his own EMP. So this is very, very good for Toxtadas' ult economy and position on this map.
Yeah, and look, they've got everything that they need. They've got Karma's ult, the EMP for their aggression. They've got Toxin Socks who can cancel out any immediate threats from the opponent. Parasoc's going to drop the Valkyrie straight into this for the long, drawn-out team fights that you just really want to win at this stage. So Toxtadas can layer this for as long as they want to kind of build back up to that Gravitic Flux. So we're going to have to come out right now and maybe stop Karma's actually getting tracked. She's getting hunted by QWAV. QWAV is ready to take these duels every time and open it up for Chloe to take a duel. The EMP comes out, but it's not really any follow-up afterwards. Transcendence going to be needed as well just to stop Chloe can play from having the space, but fight completely separated. Super BH now has to be careful, back up, and actually says you're trapped in with me. You're worried about the people behind you. Freaky, take it.
That was such a sick play from Super BH. He used Accretion to cancel the Mercy. They would have killed the Mercy 10 times, but the Transcendence kept her alive, so he rocks her to prevent the res onto Token, I think it was, and that kind of helps them win that team fight. So really, really heads up play from Super BH. Jace has the Captive Sun ready to go, but Nova Queen, the more important ultimate here, the Transcendence available here. The hacked health pack will keep Kama alive. Super BH under a ton of pressure here, lucky to go down, in fact, and he does. Yeah. Great start for our red team.
Not so much for Freaky, yeah. They drop in the Sun, they drop in the Trance, they think that they can get Super BH out in time.
Get it.
Oh. No slide though, no slide.
Just wander off. Oh.
I'm still being annoying in the back line, but yeah, that was far too expensive for Freaky when they didn't have anything in it.
Yeah, unfortunate for them. They do now have the MP, and it's over the top. They find two immediately, though, on the side of Lord of Terrans. And again, a huge ulti expended, and a team fight not going the way of Freaky. With only a minute and 20 seconds left, they don't have a lot of time to try and build up more ultimates for a big ult fight. And Toxtadas, they're going to sit pretty once again. I'm not sure what happened, but that double pick from Terran Lord at the start completely ended the fight after it started.
And that's heartbreaking for QWAV because they hit everyone. That was
Yeah.
the time that the rest of Freaky should have been able to follow through, but everyone was dead and pressured out by then, so getting stuck a little bit. BH decides no more poke battle. I'm coming straight for you and forces Tokstarter's back. Remember, this is not a full capture. The glowing rectangle on the ground is all they need to get to, and they're going to throw everything at it right now. Token in the middle of the ultimate lands only the one railgun shot of note. Lord of Terrans, though, ready to confirm other kills, and Freaky still fighting from behind. Rez going to come out from Tokstarters. They're going to be at full capacity to fight this. Remember, 30 seconds left is all Freaky has to work with.
And Tokstarters have the EMP, they've got the Sigma Ultimate, they've got the Transcendence Ultras. This is a team fight made in heaven here for the red team as they look to try and secure their first map win of the series. EMP over the top. They're trying to find this Sombra, and they have done so now. They need to keep their own Sombra alive, and they do that. Tox babysitting the Sombra, but here comes the Gravitic Flux.
Gravitic Flux picks up both of the supports. The Immortality Field will save the Zenyatta for a second. Pulls out the EMP as well. At C9, no one left alive to touch, and Freaky with just mere meters to go. Get taken down and even up the series. It's going to be a good start to the day.
I was just about to say, would we be so lucky, Altruism, to have a full 5-game series to start us off here? But let's not count our chickens before they hatch here. But this was a very, very interesting match. A lot of dynamics to kind of keep an eye on. I think the critical dynamic that kind of defined the whole match for me, though, was that QOV Kama matchup, right? QOV just, let's say it how it is. God, she dominated that matchup, rather. And Kama was kind of like, head against the wall. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna beat them. I promise, guys, I'm gonna beat them. And then QA was like, no, you're not. And also when you switch, I'm gonna match you on that as well. So, mental wise, QA was coming out on top here, but they didn't actually end up winning that. And that's because the Sombra offers so much more to the team than the Widowmaker was able to do in Kama's hands. So again, we're looking at that Sombra now as a kind of linchpin pick for the stock starter squad. If they can make that work, they can be successful, at least as we see what they're doing now. Lord of Terrans, I also like what he was able to do on the Sigma, kind of front up, match up against Super BH, not getting manhandled by any stretch of the imagination on the front line. So it kind of gives them a good anchor to operate around, and that seems to work better for this team than the meta would dictate necessarily.
Yeah, the matchups have been great in terms of Karma and QWorth. Also, Chloe versus Token has been quite a close matchup there. I haven't found one of them dominating, but they're both putting on a lot of pressure of everyone else. And again, supports have been very stalwart for both sides, never putting really a foot out unless there's a sniper coming from a weird angle. Other than that, what's interesting to me is, we saw Control Point, which is very much brawl, but also a chaotic beast. We've now seen long sight lines. The rest of this gotta kind of come down to brawl at some stage, right? There's only so many. Any of your push maps, any of your clash point maps, you're gonna get up close and personal, and both Terran and Super BH kind of want to play that style. Yeah, Sombra's in the mix. You can start bringing in your Reapers that the two teams have shown a lot of love on. QWorth has done well there if they want to swap to that. So I think this is about to get personal, bloody and broken by the end of it, right? We're one apiece.
Are there any more junk maps as well? Junket Town, New Junk City? Are we just going for...
Old Dorado was pretty drunk, so...
Yeah, true. But, there's a lot of junk maps. I think you're right about that, Altruism. But I think we'll have to see... I had a point to make, and then I got distracted myself with that joke about junk maps. But anyways, I think... This is a very brawly map, right? There's going to be a lot of action all over the map. I'm hoping we see Karma on that Sombra. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Winston here from Lord of Terrans, but I might prefer him to play something that controls tempo a little bit differently, right? Maybe something like a Rhine, something like a Ram. The Junker Queen, we know he likes to play, but when you do that, you have to understand that you're going up against Super BH in his own house. So that is something you have to be aware of if you're going to be taking that role. But Not likely to see Widowmakers or anything like that here. So I'm interested to see what they end up coming out with, and it is going to be all out brawl. Chloe, she's going to be on the soldier here, feeling like the soldier, not really giving her what she needs. But the big difference between these two teams, at least at the moment, is going to be that May. If you can get the walls, if you can take down Super BH when he gets aggressive and cut him off from his healing, he might be in trouble. But Jungle Queen is actually a hero that can handle being walled off a lot better than some other heroes. So we'll have to wait and see if they can make this work. I like the Brig as well when the brawl starts to unfold. That Inspire passive can really keep the team healthy.
It's going to be a fluid match. That's the best way I can describe it, is that the fact that both these teams are kind of going to crash against each other, move back and forward, swish across the payload, the points that they need to contest. And again, the May is going to be so instrumental in creating that wall, just stopping people at the right stage. Or unless you get picked off at the beginning, Chloe lands the rocket at the end, and that is so pivotal. This gives Freaky all the space. Now they can take the brawl. They've lost Chloe at the end of it, lost Nova as well, but unfortunately for Tokstarters, they've lost far more than this, and they're even being chased down. Who's going to go contest the point? It's not Super BH. He's still got kills to find, and this could be a big one to trickle out at the end. In fact, Lord of Terrans, Jace needs to be careful.
Okay. Finds Jace here, but he's still going to lose this battle, I think. Lord of Terrans. No, the team is here now. Point is ticking up towards the blue side. Gets in there, tracks down the Lord of Terrans, and makes him pay. And that is the late pick we were worried about, Al.
Jay's going to be able to come back so quickly as well right now. May just has to be use the ice wall to delay this out a little bit, keep up some poke angles and throw a nice bit of dynamite and try to get ultimate charge. And Freaky on the other side, look at Super BA, 76% compared to the rest of the team. Lord of Terran doing a pretty good job of keeping up with that.
Credit to Chloe, though. That opening pick was so critical to them winning this team fight now. As we see, taking a bit of a side angle here. Super BH dropping low, will be alive. A great Suzu to get the Jungle Queen up, but a lot of damage coming through. Yeah, they will pay with their life here, but Super BH says, I've still got work to do. We know how good he is. He finds two already, both DPS. They find a third. Chloe taking down Parasox, and Lord of Terrans in trouble here, but Token eventually, Super BH in trouble, and Token 1, 2, 3 kills in that team fight, I think. That's going to be it. So a great ultimate, ability to charge that ultimate, and a good couple of kills for Super BH, but a little bit of a Hail Mary, you'd have to say, Altruism.
You know, at this stage, something that I thought coming into this, when I look back at the control points where it was brawl, you kind of ignore the front line and you go kill the back line.
Yeah.
And both these teams are doing that right now. I think that was the big part. They got Super BH out with that massive Suzu, but everyone else was so low HP that, again, Super BH goes in with the big aggressive play, but everyone dies behind them. And right now it seems to be Freaky's turn to try and close that distance. Unfortunately, Tokstarters, they've done a good job of flexing. They can now rally back. They've gone on the back of this massive revenge, annihilation. What is it? Rampage. I knew it was a dramatic word. But certainly good flexing from Tokstarters to win that out.
Yeah, and they're sitting pretty here to keep this point in control. They've got Token's Blizzard here. They'll be hoping they can win this team fight without even using it here. 1 or 2 early picks would be perfect for them to be able to take that out into the next point. But it's all about winning this team fight here. 89%, 90%. The Kitsune Rush to start, and here's the Blizzard.
Blizzard, ice block to shut everyone in. No one really getting caught in that, it seems. I think Jace might have at the end, but both of the supports down here for Freaky. It's completely just going to be able to sustain. Tok's going to be in late fight, but wasn't going to use that ultimate anyway. No way, no way, no way! Q-Wave comes back and claims that. Okay, normality restored. Desperate attempt, but 99% for both
in that, but nobody's going to be able to get onto point. So yeah, that was an optimistic play there. I think her eyes lit up when she saw 4 players bunched up like that, but you were asking, you needed to kill them all to actually take that point. So that's an ultimate they don't have now. And Kama, by contrast, he's coming up towards his. They've got the Orbital Ray. We know how good that is as an ultimate, but Super BH has already got his ultimate pretty much ready to go here. And I think that might just end the team fight as it gets started.
And it goes straight through all of them, slides down the wall perfectly, everyone ticking out, purpled up, whoever could wraith form dead, but even they're going to get claimed towards the end of the fight. A big ultimate from Super BH, the only one that they needed to, and Tokstarters, with as many ults as they wanted to, didn't have a chance to pop them.
They did pop Tac Visor there, Freaky, which I obviously didn't seem like it contributed that much. But it's a great ultimate, but it's not necessarily going to win you a team fight. Speaking of winning team fights now, Lord of Terrans, he's got his ultimate ready to go, but he's playing into a Suzu, so he's going to have a much harder time to actually get value out of the Rampage. Super BH is though, he's isolated, but the Orbital Ray too good.
Maywar again cancels out the rampage from their own Junker Queen, but Karma in the backline with the Death Blossom going to be able to secure this fight. Just again, ignore Super BH, go in the backlines and take them all out. Great play from Toxtarters to secure this. And again, Freaky with the job now of recontesting.
Yeah, and it was expensive as well for Freaky. They popped the orbital ray to try and keep them alive. They did. I mean, that was all Karma in the backline with his Death Blossom here. Ooh, strike down Q up. I mean, let's watch this battle play out. This guy's got something to prove right now.
Yeah, Karma versus Q. Karma didn't manage to get the long-range duels that going their way. Super BH once more, just so deep that no one can reach him. There's only so much you can do, and that's going to give Lord of Terrans all the freedom to run forward. Doesn't care about the whole Hellfire shotguns. Maybe should. Maybe should. Lord of Terrans goes down. Karma going to get one in return, but gets the second. There's the settling of the duel.
And this soldier's not likely to live that long as well. And if they are, they're currently contributing literally nothing to the team fight. So Chloe will want to regroup with their team now. But Super BH will be back before Terran Lord, and that could be key here. If he's given space to do what he wants, he will clean up here. A couple of support ultimates available, and Super BH once again, he's got the rampage.
Got the rampage, decides to throw it through there, gets out Parasox, one of the supports dealt with right now. Big plays in the backline coming out from Toxtarters. They are concentrated on the points, and once more it's ignore the BH, kill everyone else. It's just these two, the instrumental playmakers with the ultimate waiting there. Can pop it at any stage. Super BH made the pivotal kill onto the support, loses Q-Wub actually next to him. So just Junker Queen versus Junker Queen battle. I think BH going to have some support coming in right now, though. Got the better of the duel. Lord of Terrans going to be able to claim the points.
That was something we don't see a lot. 1v1, last man standing. Junker Queen on Junker Queen violence. But unfortunately, the backup just a little bit sooner to arrive for Lord of Terrans. Now he's going to be going into this next fight with his ultimate. Again, eyes on the Suzu cooldown. Novatic Queen has to be really on top of keeping that ability available to counter out the rampage. But if they can force it out, Lord of Terrans will be pretty comfortable going in. They've also got the attack visor now, but there's a lot of ultimates coming out. Both teams have the Death Blossom, or Super BH, though isolated a little bit.
This is a big part of this.
Wow.
Hey, everyone, the whole of Freaky seems to be hero playmakers. That seems to be a good way that they're able to win a lot of their fights. And so they come in late into a fight or drop something desperate there. The Death Blossom in the middle of the brawl would have been great if it was uncontested, but everyone was already throwing out so much. It blew up instantly. Super BH is built to the ultimate now for the next fight. I'm glad Chloe's held theirs. Toxtarters claim it, though. They just get into these points. And again, Chloe's on a bit of a solo mission. There's the knife, the slice through the end. Freaky going to have to delay once more.
I don't like how the soldier fits into the composition here. If you look at what Token's playing instead, the Mei, it hard counters the Junker Queen when she wants to come in. And I think that's part of why Super BH is struggling just a little bit, because he's not really respecting the walls as well as he should. He's moving forward through them. He's getting cut off from his healers, but here's the rampage.
There's the rampage again. Parasox, the early casualty of these fights, is a lot of sustain, a lot of boot back. Optimistic TP, very telegraphed there and shut down quite quickly, but not before Chloe falls the victim. And again, Chloe's the one with that ultimate that would be so nice to clean up a fight right now. Lord of Terrans taking the fight and coming out again the victor. It's Super BH. Last man standing as always. Don't know if you really want to go into this fight.
Yeah, what's his plan here? His plan is to try and get a couple of, a little bit of damage here. He's going to man up, but he's not going to live here, surely. He's got the wall behind him. He's got no friends, no backup, and he is taken down. That might just be it for the match shelterism.
That's it. It's a great Suzu to come out there, but, I mean, the damage is done. Even that a second of anti-heal that's delayed means that your team is now going to fall apart. 3-0 Toxtarters. They come with the brawl ready, and they take it cleanly.
Yeah, and who would have thought coming into this that Super BH was going to be out-brawled here? But it is a team game, and as good as Super BH is, his team is not... It's hard for his team to help him out here, as we see the play of the game from Terran Lord. The Jade guns as well. Very nice, very nice. Oh, okay. Free kill. But the difference between the two teams, and I think what made Super BH look a little bit ordinary at times, was that Mei from Token.
Yeah.
He was just kind of cut off from his team a lot of the time, looking to man up and take duels aggressively. But he never was in a 1v1 with Lord of Terrans, and it felt like often he was in a 1v3 or 4 against Lord of Terrans and a couple of backup players. So I called out the Soldier on there. I didn't like what it contributed or didn't contribute to the team. I'd rather have had something that was a little bit more adept in that brawling situation. So either a May of your own to try and look for opportunities to split people off from the rest of the team, or something else, something wacky like a Junkrat or something like that.
Something with utility, right? Something that can offer something
or with a ton of damage, right? Because Soldier offers a little bit of consistent damage, but it comes from time and ability to spend time shooting people from downrange. But Chloe, and there were times we saw Chloe on long jaunts off angle, and that might have been the right thing to do, but she wasn't really finding the value from that rather. And so I might have liked to see, go back to the Sojourn. I think the Sojourn's much better there in that situation. But clearly she felt like that isn't or wasn't working for her, and so was trying something new, which I respect, but a little bit either more utility or just raw damage I think would have fitted better. And again, I'm just looking at this contrasting what Token was able to contribute versus what Chloe was able to contribute in this match.
I thought it at the beginning, I said it during the middle of the match, and it just came down to how well were you able to put pressure on the back lines. At every stage, there was this pivotal moment where Lord of Terrans and Super BH kind of crossed each other, and that was the real start of the fight. And at that point onwards, something like the May Wall to keep everyone safe on your side from the Super BH coming at you, or just cut off Super BH and fight Super BH in that little box, or you kind of leave Super BH behind and you cut off half of their back line, 2 supports that are now trapped in there with you, and you clean those guys up. That wins you fights. And now we get to see a little bit more of the brawl, right? We finally get to go to King's Row. I mean, there was a time, Sun Phoenix, where I got sick of this map because I saw it so often. Now it's been a while.
That never happened to me. I'll stay there for free. I'll play this map every day for the rest of my life. If they could just change the weather sometimes, maybe a day version, a night version, then it might as well.
One sunny day.
Exactly. It can. I'll just play the same map over and over again. It's like those Counter-Strike Dust 2 servers where the only map is Dust 2 and everyone plays Dust 2 all the time. Anyways, great map, best map in the game. Obviously, everybody knows that. I wonder if we might see a little bit of Reinhardt action here. Altruism, Reinhardt, Lucio, Juno, stuff like that. And see teams, see these 2 teams get nice and aggressive. I think it fits decently well into the playstyle potential of the 2 tanks. We know Super BH loves to get his hammer on, but we'll have to wait and see whether they choose to go that way. And they do. Both teams, in fact, bring that out. Both teams so far matching each other strike for strike. Tox will go either the Lucio or the Juno here. And that's going to be a fully matched team. So we'll get to evaluate these teams on equal levels.
I love this. If ever there was a place and a time for it, it would be right now. Scrims Row and these 2 teams, especially, I don't know. I feel like the youngster of Super BH who's coming in is trying to dethrone and usurp a Lord of Terrans as I'm going to out-tank you, friend. And it's the most adorable thing to see the 2 of them settle it out as Reinhardt.
It can be that. But I think no matter what happens, Super BH will say, no, guys. If I had my real team in here, I would be dominating, right? If I had Metal Snow and whoever else, I can't remember exactly who's on that TMC squad. If I had everybody on my back who I normally have, I'd be steamrolling you guys. This should be very, very interesting here. My sense is that mechanically, Super BH might be a little bit better than Lord of Terrans. He might be a little bit sharper on combos, cooldowns, and timings. But Lord of Terrans, he's got that competitive experience. He's got the experience of playing against really, really high-level tanks and knowing how to operate in that space for a long time. So we'll have to wait and see who comes out on top, because it's about more than just the Reinhardts. Obviously, they kind of typify these compositions, but we're looking towards that Widowmaker duel again, Altruism QR versus Karma. We know how that, we've seen that movie before. Junktown illuminated to all of us how that's going to go down, but Karma, he'll come in again with something to prove, and he looked better on the Reaper in that previous game.
I think the Widowmaker duel is going to be hella fun to watch. Like, I'm ready to see it. Junket Town has a lot more spaces and angles to poke from, so it is like a more complex Widow duel. King's Row has got more predictable sidelines, I would say, for most of the Widows. I also think with the presence of the Reinhardt, though, it's not going to be as impactful. In something like Junket Town, once you got that first pick, you were now free to start taking pot shots at this big open area. Now it's going to be a case of you got narrow little chokes, you've got big Reinhardt shields in the way. When are you really going to be able to pressure the back line afterwards? So there's going to be more work than just winning the Widow duel, and I don't know how long that's going to last into the match. Yeah, but I'm still excited for it.
Yeah, she's not as good on King's Row as she is on Junket Town, especially the first points of each map. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them even just run it out of the door.
Yeah.
And look for one or two picks and then call it quits after that. But we know these two players like to play the Widow, at least it seems that way. They like to duel each other on the Widow, especially COWZA. So it wouldn't surprise me that the loser would switch and then we'd take it from there. But like you say, it's not as powerful on this map as it is on Junker Queen. It's not a map that is typified by those long sidelines in the same way that especially the first point of Junket Town is. So we'll see. Again, I'm hoping that we put some emphasis on putting pressure on Super BH with something like a Sombra, because when you're playing around a Reinhardt, he really is the focal point of these kind of compositions. So you've kind of got to be on top of making sure your Reinhardt can excel, and that's why we give him the speed boost. We give him those sorts of things to make sure he can get in and out, pretty swiftly and nimbly.
I wanted to know who's going to be the first one to lose their nerve and charge. Into a bad place. Not like just like a threatening charge or a closing the distance charge. I need to do something. I'm under pressure. I need to hit someone against the wall right now. So that's going to be a very interesting little mental thing. And again,
I don't know. My feeling is that Super BH, he's going to be non-stop charging. That whenever it's on cooldown, he's ready to motor on in and start swinging hammers. Because
I don't know if he's going to charge. I don't know if he's going to charge as much, but he's definitely going to be swinging. So he's going to be waiting around the first corner, and he's going to be swinging more than anyone else should be, as long as he's feeling safe. But charging recklessly, not sure.
One thing that we also need to keep an eye out for, is the Widowmaker, the Mei potential from both of these teams, right? We know Token has played that hero already. We haven't seen it come out of their opponents, but that could be a pretty key part of this matchup. Reinhardt really, really hates playing against Mei in a way that doesn't even compare to Junker Queen. He really gets ruined by a good Mei, and King's Row has a ton of places where you can leverage the Mei wall to secure kills. So I think if their backs are against the wall, you could see them swap onto something like the Mei Sombra. It's a bit low damage potentially, but it offers you the opportunity to secure kills early, and then you can kind of build a team fight from there.
Yeah, I would certainly expect Sombra for someone like Karma to swap onto that pretty predictably. The Mei is interesting because neither team is running it immediately. It's one of those things that you wouldn't be surprised as someone insta-locks that and walks out the door in the first 5 seconds.
And the Mei player was not the one on Widow, because if he'd been on the one on Widow, I would be like, that makes sense. You take a few shots as the Widow, then you go in the Mei and then you play for real.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I'm going... Maybe not then. I can't remember who the second DPS on our defense side was. Or even
who was defending? I wasn't even paying attention to who was attacking.
I think it was Talk Starters. Okay. I don't know. I'm sure Twitch chat will tell us.
Karma and Token then. Okay, Parasox is dead, has been killed. So, I mean, in a competitive sense. So they will be getting a slight downgrade in skill, personality, looks, and everything. It is going to be Blur subbing in for Parasox in that support role. So rip Talk Starters. It's all downhill from here, gents.
Blur support. Also, like the straight face with which you said he's just dead. That killed me, man. I'm sorry, but Blur, very experienced player, obviously knows what to do and will be able to maybe be tempted to make some calls that he shouldn't be. But I haven't seen the Blur support. So, Sun Phoenix, thoughts?
I haven't seen the Blur support either, but we said this yesterday with Apricornicus. High-level players can play every hero, every role at a high level at least. Blur can be a bit of a goofy guy though, so we'll see what he ends up bringing to the table. But he's extremely intelligent in an Overwatch context. He's good friends with Tox and Lord of Terrans as well, so it wouldn't surprise me to see them level up just a little bit. Not necessarily because he's better than Parasox is, but just because he synergizes a little bit better with Tox and Lord of Terrans.
Oh, big anti-heal and immortality field forced out from Toxstarter. So Freaky realized they've got a couple of seconds now to charge down their opponents. The flex, though, from Toxstarters is there. Super BH, like you said, first one to charge, but nicely back to safety. So not into a risky pressure place. And first pick comes out, decided by the Sojans. Token going to get the better of that. And while Toxstarters suffered from there. A very long, drawn-out. Actually taking that jaw. Pressure that they had to deal with. Freaky are the ones buckling. This is a big opportunity for them. There goes the charge. It stopped. What? He takes out Blur?
Okay, he must have booped him. I think he was low. I don't think he actually pinned him there, but Blur kind of materialized inside him, and that was it. He's dead, but now they can move forward. They've got that pick on the main healing support, but Kama, he's still in the mixer. He's found one, looking to find more, but Super BH with the kill on Lord of Terrans. That should be it for this team fight, and it's going to allow him to get aggressive here. A death would be pretty disastrous here. Blur's like, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. And Super BH says, no, sir, I'm going to get you. They do trade it out though, and I think this is still a positive for Toxstarters.
Absolutely right there. BH ran the entire opposite way around the statue there where Nova was chasing them, and then Nova was there ready to buck it up, and BH on 25 HP was like, no, I'm still going to take the fight. I'm going to duel this out. Could have put up the shield for 2 seconds and won that, but Freaky give it away. They go for a desperate hero play once more, and Toxstarter's going to be happy that that miraculous fight turned into something for them.
Yeah, they will be very happy. They've got the Earth Shatter now, so that's obviously a big dynamic of the Ryan versus Ryan matchup. Tox, interesting to see Tox on the Lucio and not on the Juno. Obviously, they offer different things slightly, but he feels like he wants to move with the Reinhardt rather than just giving him the ring, standing back and keeping him healthy. But here we go. Super BH under pressure, but he gets nanoed out. Shatter is good, though.
Sleep comes out, stops the rest of the Reinhardt's damage. Super BH still going to pay with their life, and Orbital Ray trying to desperately keep them, but a lot of these ultimates have just been half a second too late into the fight. The hesitation costs Freaky once more, and this time they dumped everything into it. Both of their support ults.
Yeah, that is kind of a rough fight there for Toxstarters, but they're moving forward now. It is they've got the overcharge almost ready to go here. Kama has got the sights as well, but this is not a great place to play Widowmaker. You kind of have to find off angles because there's so many corners that teams can use to as a kind of staging area, and you can see here, oh my god, one headshot, not going to find the kill, but Token will find Super BH, and that is as disastrous as it gets in a Ryan v Ryan.
Oh, I think this is starting to show a crack in mentality as Toxstarters on game point, on match point, now walking forwards, and Super BH constantly, again, just a little bit too far out of position. Everyone just, the rest of the time spent picking off whoever's left.
Yeah, but that kill onto Super BH is so key. We didn't quite see how that all went down, but losing your Reinhardt, it just... the team fight is over at that point. So Widowmaker now, COWZA does have her ultimate going. Blur will once again take down Super BH. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Every time it happens, we look away. And Kama is even in on the action now. He says that was just a blip, the Junkertown map. I've got what it takes to dominate COWZA, and I'm going to show you that now.
Yo, that must be feeling good for Kama though. Yeah. After an entire map of losing out, you do start to crack a little bit inside. Now, absolutely get in the way, and COWZA actually swaps onto the Hanzo, maybe looking for a little bit more shield pressure and to burn down the opponent tank and help out BH. Ammo blocked! Earth Shatter completely denied, and Lord of Terrans purpled up and everything, decides to go through, get slipped out at the end, but everyone lying on the ground. Easy pickings for Toxstarters, and I don't know if anyone's even going to be able to touch right now.
Nope, that is going to be it. As I say, that
ran off. They ran off.
And Blur, he's given them a lifeline here. Super BH low, 1 point needs to touch, is still touching, but he's got no backup, and he will get taken down. Lord of Terrans will execute Super BH, as he has done so often on this map. Blur thanking his lucky stars that map didn't continue for any longer.
If that was overtime, they would have actually completely C9'd that. Everyone ran off it for the last half a second.
Yeah.
So Freaky had their lifeline, but still got to be frustrated. They're just, I don't know how many times we can count an actual team fight taking place in this matchup.
Yeah, it felt like, again, without seeing it, unfortunately, both times it happens, we didn't see what actually happened. But both times Super BH dropped at the start of fights. That's like disastrous. That really shouldn't be happening. When you're not fighting into anti-heals, you're not fighting into huge CC or anything like that, right? You should be able. There's no May, for example.
Yeah.
You should be able to keep Super BH alive, and we know he's not the kind of player. Yes, we kind of joke about him being very, very aggressive, but he's not the kind of player who's going to drop his shield and try and run at you and die over and over again, right? He's definitely going to play his cooldowns effectively. He just kind of shifts his balance a bit more towards aggression. But yeah, just dying like that twice is really disastrous. So the team kind of has to keep an eye on him. And again, there's no pressure in the backline. You know, they weren't running a Genji or something who was distracting the supports. So yeah, that's something that just can't happen on this map with these lineups. So they'll have to kind of address that. But compositional changer QHub says, I actually don't, I'm better than the Widow duel. And I will instead go into the Genji here and try and make some space for my team.
All you need to do is reflect again the Widow shot back at her and actually win it like that. That's all QO would need to do to stamp this. But Talkstarters really, they've done the best job that they could possibly want to try and hold this, to try and confirm themselves a continuation through this lower bracket. Now they're being pressured though, giving up first point, pretty much uncontested. QO tries to win the battle, but Karma takes a step back. Still the rest of the charge comes forward. Super BH on 200 HP, plenty of HP to chase down the support and claim first point and first push.
Yeah, and look, as I said, I thought maybe when Talkstarter started to be put on the back foot, they might switch to that May, and that's exactly what happened. Token says, you know what are we doing, gents? Let's play the May. Let's make Super BH struggle even more, and Karma, using any space he gets to find kills, Jace will go down, and the May will secure the kill onto Super BH as well.
I think Talkstarters has done a great job. This idea of swapping to the May, top tier, honestly. This may have won them the entire game, because especially on this defining part of the map with this archway, people getting through there with a May wall threatening them constantly is going to require some sort of innovation from Freaky. I want to see them take a long walk and drop an earth shadow on someone's head. Instead, they're going to muscle their way through the fronts, and it works out. Not for Super BH. Lord of Terran still purple, though. Going to be able to be helped out by the Transcendence, so enough people from Talkstarters stay alive after that.
Jesus. Tox taking matters into his own hands here. I've never seen a Tibetan monk analog do such horrible things to another human being. A friend, especially. But he executes QWAV with impunity there. But Super BH is getting manhandled here a little bit. Again, I don't know how much of that is him making mistakes versus him getting counted up. But now they get aggressive on the Coalescence. A charge, though, onto Terran Lord will help them secure that kill. Nevada Queen will get the last hit. And now they can look to clean things up. So a good hold, decent hold in that choke for Talkstarters comes to an end with some pretty good heads-up play.
Yeah, that was Freaky identifying the moment of weakness right there. The May wall went up, and they had Coalescence ready. As soon as that May wall goes down, they realize that they can push through, and Super BH. I don't know if that was the communicated play that we can go on Coalescence, but the team realized that they needed to go there and executed well. So still plenty of time to confirm this. Karma in a nice sightline, but being pressured out by a lot of spam.
Yeah, nice, good. They don't have an obvious counter to the Widowmaker, so you just want to kind of keep the pressure on. Maybe we can secure a kill. There's pressure being built. Lord of Terrans goes down, so does Super BH. It's a very, very even fight out.
At this stage, Talkstarter QWAV trying for the end of it. Karma eventually going to shut that one down. Last chance for Freaky.
Last man standing.
Last man standing has to be. Talkstarter's dry. Freaky, lots.
Yeah, that is rough for them. They don't even have the Earth Shatter here. Super BH closer to his than Lord of Terrans is. It's going to be a hard place to even land an Earth Shatter. You expect a lot of players to set up the crossfires. A kill would be so good, but they're not able to secure it here. Overcharge at the ready for the attacking squad alongside two other ultimates.
Super BH is absolutely shoving them through. Ice Block caused out there. Early railguns shots coming out from Freaky can put this pressure on. Also have the Transcendence, and that's enough to overwhelm Super BH, who didn't manage to get back. Shatter now completely free for Lord of Terrans, as there's no shield. Can be cleaned up nicely. Chloe trying desperately to get around the corner is going to be able to escape, but Freaky, they dropped everything into that. They had everything.
That was a complete disaster for Freaky. They played it really well. Tox starters actually kind of pulling back. And as soon as they got that trance off, Tox popped it pretty much immediately. And that was allowed them to start pushing forward. They committed Nano, they committed Blade though. Such a huge commitment. And QWAV says, you know what, the Genji's not working. I'm going to try and counter Karma on the Hanzo. Very telling though that they don't feel like they want to take the Widow duel.
Yeah. A single pick like that needs to come quickly, otherwise Coalescence going to be the name of the game. It goes and enables Super BH to charge right through. They get the final pins, and that was the only ultimate available from either side, and it worked perfectly. Now a shield just to secure things. Give a bit of space to your Hanzo. QWAV wants to get the log. It's denied for now. Freaky, get inside. They've got 3 minutes 23. They're already lower on time bank than their opponents.
And QWAV going down as well. I was just going to point that out. That's how disastrous their first defense was, Freaky, that they're already behind the time. Oh, a nice wall to cut off Super BH. Can they secure this kill here with the Mei? There's enough space for Super BH to find an angle onto his team, but unfortunately the anti-heal going to secure the kill, or rather not be enough to keep him alive. A good volley. It's going to secure the kill on Super BH and allow him to push forward. So this is all positive time here for Tox starters as they lead builds.
And I mean, even just a charge shot like that from Tox and Socks, he's got his ultimate now. That was like 15% that he got from that volley into the Reinhardt who was running away. So,
here we go.
That's not an ultimate that's going to be available. This gives them a small moment of time. They still need to respect the Mei, both the Ice War and Blizzard available. A couple of nice railgun shots as they come around the corner could help out a lot. Fire Strike hits high ground. Couple of there's your goal. Woo! The shots come through. Lord of Terrans, a last one left, and even with the two key ultimates, neither come into play.
Yeah, this next fight's going to be really tough to win for Freaky though. If they can find an opening pick, especially on this hero, that would be great for them. But Super BH needs to be careful that Discord Orb can make short work of any tank here, and he does back up. Jape's going to keep him healthy. Jace also has the nano boost, and they pop the dragons in as well here. It's going to be a very massive team fight as they pop the Transcendence, but the shots come through.
Shots. There was just QWAV who had that angle pinned down and so many people, but the Blizzard, the big one in the background that can turn it around, comes out. Tox starters are bought some time, but there's not anyone left alive. Freaky able to walk it in over the minute mark as well.
Paper defenses here, Altruism, it seems like, because both teams able to push through with more than a minute and a half remaining, but that still means Tox starters have a pretty significant lead here. What is that? One and a bit minutes. So they'll be pretty confident in their ability to try and secure themselves the win here. And it's worth remembering, this is your tournament life on the line here for Freaky, right? They lose this match, their Talon Cup is done one day into day two, so they're going to want to push us to at least a game 5. And they looked a lot better on that defense than they did the first time. They did a much better job of keeping Super BH from dying, or he did a better job of not dying. Again, not sure exactly what the story was there. But that's even in spite of the Mei. But credit has to go to QWAV, especially on that third point, finding so many key pick-offs that just made team fights a formality almost, in spite of the ult advantages that Tox starters had at different times.
Yeah, exactly. Just holding down an angle mitigates the damage anyone can do from in there. You know, you're kind of trapped with all your cooldowns ready, and you just can't step out. There was a Zenyatta in there was the Ashe was in there, and QWAV was just saying, anytime you move, I'm putting an arrow in there. I've got the Sonic arrow on you and everything. So certainly oppressive at that aspect, but like you say, kind of paper defenses. Both these teams just sometimes go for the all-in play and it works out or doesn't. Once more back into this Rhine battle. Jace on the Ana going to provide a lot of healing, as is Nova. So they're definitely investing in Super BH. On the other side, I want to blow them up quickly. The Baptiste for the extra damage, Toxin Socks with that the Discord Orb, and we come around the corner ready to swing.
Interesting, neither team running speed or their Reinhardt, so it kind of affects how the Reinhardt dynamic plays out. Charge not on the money there, but who is on the money? QWAV. Took a little bit of time off from the Widowmaker, but now going to be back on that hero. No pressure on him. Super BH says, thank you very much. A lot of squishy heroes in a corner. Might as well be nails that he can hammer into the coffin of Tox starters' first defense.
Oh, that is big, being able to catch that when you only had a minute and a half. Now you've got some time to get into the streets.
And they've got Earth Shadow.
And they've got Earth Shadow, of course. Super BH, he tried to charge around the corner, pick up someone, but I'm glad he actually didn't latch onto anyone, because then he would have carried it through, you know that. Actually had to cancel it out.
Shadow.
Healed up. Big Shadow now.
Shadow.
And 3 go down immediately. Kidnaps Lord of Terran to come back into the waiting arms. But, Lord of Terran's, I don't think he expected Super BH to have a Shadow yet.
Yeah, I mean, how would he, right? And again, Feyenoord is not a popular hero at the moment. So in times past, you would have known exactly how much charge the enemy Ryan was getting by what they were doing. But here, these players won't have played as much Ryan as they might have at times past. So you should be careful here. Kama is on the Ashe here. No ultimates work with just yet, but Lord of Terrans, he's close. You need to be careful now. They need to keep him Shadow.
Oh, the Nanoboost baits Super BH into putting down the shield and thinks that he needs to go aggressive. Immediately read before it even happened by Lord of Terrans, and it was an Earth Shadow to secure the streets phase at the beginning, but an Earth Shadow to put paid to that at the end. 1.5 points, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be happy with that as Freaky. As you kind of mentioned, anytime you can take that first point, you'll feel like we've got something to defend here. They've got basically a normal amount of time, right? 4 minutes is what you start with at the start of the game. Talk starters have 3.5 minutes here, so it'd have to be a pretty typical full hold if Freaky are to full hold them here. But they've got plenty of space now. Even if you lose that first point, if you can set up a defense in that second choke, you'll be feeling pretty comfortable. Right. I mean, they'll be confident they can do that. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the Earth Shadows were critical there, and both tanks are going to be aware of that now. A little bit sharp, because in the previous rounds, the Earth Shadows were almost surplus to requirements, it felt like a lot of the time. But in that overtime round, it really was a case of get Earth Shadow, win the game.
Oh, this is interesting. Freaky, we said that we're going to bring out some weird stuff, and COWZA goes on the Junkrat. We just got to slow them down, or we got to get them in this first choke point as they walk through, and then under the arch. Being able to get through the arch was such a big part of Freaky's attack now. So they're just going to make life difficult, and Tokstada is going to have to hit some critical shots and some elusive targets, or they're not going to win the shield break war.
The thing is, if they clock this and they don't win these first couple of team fights, they could easily switch on to the Pharah, and there's no great Pharah counter on the side of Tokstada, on the side of the as things stand. But we have to wait and see if they even need to do that here. But this is where Junk thrives.
Yeah, right. You're now popping everything through. The immortality field is down, and Blur shortly falls afterwards. Now without the support, Terran dies, and COWZA wants to keep going and putting some pressure on this. He actually gets it. Actually makes the Ashe stay outside for just a second longer. Doesn't get the kill, but already up to 88% on the charge.
Oh yeah, that is crazy. The order is only up to 30, and it's the Junker Queen. It really is difficult to play Ryan's Junker Queen. And yeah, as I said, called it, the Pharah comes out. Toxin Socks might even switch onto the Mercy in support, but he's closing in on the sound barrier. Oh, but they get the kill on Chloe, but here's a Shadow.
Shadow goes down, immortality field, keeps Blur alive for a little bit longer and actually secures that Super BH overstays the welcome. Now COWZA, you wanted to play the Junk. Can you hit the aerial Pharah with the shots? Not before Jace goes down and kind of being challenged inside. It's where Junkrat wants to be, but hemmed in is certainly not a great place if you're a Junk. Junk goes down at late.
Oh, whoops. My screen is paused. I'm not sure. Oh,
there we go. You're back.
Sorry. I'm back. Don't panic.
Very important fight that you're missing right now as Tokstada is holding off and continuing to get up the capture progress as Freaky desperately fighting it out. They joined late. They don't know if they're going to be able to get people out right now. Chloe can play and the Moira both probably going to fade into blackness. Freaky needs to stabilize. COWZA goes down as well, and they may have just given away the arch for free.
Yeah, that is a very important point here. I think they're not going to be able to defend this arch. They'll have to defend on the corner of the bookstore. But they get a kill onto Tox. That's huge. They can now get aggressive, limited healing onto Terran Lord. Can they look to move forward and secure that? No. Super BH playing it safe here. Doesn't want to go too aggro when his teammates are still rejoining the fray.
I like that Super BH just waited for half a second. So many times we expect him to charge down there with that small opportunity, but gets back now. Coalescence going to keep him up, and Barrage to stop anyone walking around the corner and only find Super BH. What a tire! Q1 from around the corner. Earthshatter to try counter it out now. Lord of Darren has lots of work to do and not a lot of HP, but still lots on the shield. Tries to fight it out versus the Ash, gets taken down. Chloe can play, swaps out there. Last man alive, takes down Token as well. And says, okay, we're going to hold this at least for now.
Ooh, needs to be careful though. Tox is a monster on this hero. Sound barrier at the ready. Team fights rejoining. We're going to have one last hurrah here with 30 seconds on the clock, but they're not at full number just yet, Freaky.
Nova Queen back up to that Coalescence. I cannot believe that they used that in the last fight. Now going to have that to start things up, but not when you lose Chloe. Bob immediately in there to create some space around the corner. Going to be blocked off in majority by the Reinhardt shield. So they don't have to give up too much space. And here comes the Coalescence round the corner, keeping everyone up alive. Nano boost on dropped by Jace as well. Freaky, they said, well, this is going to be last fight. We're going to take it. Super BH staying alive, swinging. Does not want to live up to the counter argument where the Ash won previously. Still even has the support in tow. Freaky going to win this out in overtime. Last second touch. Token desperately wants to keep this alive. Recall's out there. Wants to get someone back in charge on the corner. Suzu was there. Super BH is trying to rejoin. He's died. Eventually, the last touch is just the Moira. Still going to be Freaky claiming this. So we go to game 5.
Oh my, we kind of knew coming out of Lijiang, I think, Ultrasum, that this had the potential to be a very, very close matchup, and it absolutely proved to be the case. Back and forth all the way throughout. We thought after that first defense that Freaky was breathing their last breath, but they showed up on their attack, and they showed up on their second attack to secure that push through the arch, and that was enough to give them enough room to mount a couple of defenses this Karma. This is a really nice comeback performance from him on the Widowmaker. He had got the better of QWAV on King's Row in a way that he never was able to on Junkertown, and it helped force QWAV into a bit of a rut, if you will, of trying to find a hero that would work, having to get creative, going onto the Hanzo, going onto the Junkrat, but at the end of the day, it ended up working perfectly. Well, it ended up working pretty well for Freaky, and now we go to a game 5 for the first time in the Talon Cup 2025.
Well enough, right? Well enough to get you to game 5, and still going to be lots of work to go. I'm getting the feeling from these two teams, they like to attack. They like to push. They both do that very well. And so something like the push game mode, which I really hope is what comes up next, it's going to be interesting to see. They love keeping that big defined front line and then leaving people to do stuff in the back line, whether it's Karma on one side, Q-Bob on the other. They give Chloe some space there to work, and it's just, you keep even supports tucked away there. When you can get to the opponent's back line, things kind of fall apart like the control maps, but it's certainly a game where it's entertaining to see these two tanks brawling it out on the front line while shots fire off in the distance.
It is very entertaining, and some really, really big earth shatters from both tanks there at different times. This is always an awesome ultimate to see watch. It's that slam, the kills, everything that comes from it is just awesome. And if you've ever played Reinhardt, you know just how dynamic of a battle, mental battle that is, as much as anything. And both tanks matching up pretty well, it has to be said, man for man against each other. And it was a difference of inches at the end of it all, you know. 1 or 2 critical picks. In fact, they started that fight with a pick, top starters, but they lost a few key players on the flank. And that was the end of that. They had the beat, and everything. And they were just too split to be able to use that effectively. So they'll be pretty annoyed with how that last team fight went down, but they'll be focused now coming into map 5. It is going to be Runa Sapi. And that should be very, very interesting. It is a push map. You asked for it, and they have delivered. Finally, it's a color scheme that matches perfectly with the color of our two teams as well. So, as if destined, we have come to map 5 here. It all comes together perfectly.
A poetic ending to this series. I think both of them with such a close style is an interesting fact that one of them has to go home and the other one bears the flag for this sort of meta to go into the rest of the tournament. So steel sharpens steel and all of that. But I think whoever goes forward has done themselves proud. I think anyone who goes home now has done themselves proud. This is a fight to the death, but knowing these guys, certainly this is going to be the most intense of the fights. I think everyone ready to leave everything on the line now. None of these players back up all that easily, and now they got a robot to tussle between them.
Junker Queen May for Talk Starters, surely, right?
Gotta be.
You run back what you did on Junk, New Junk City, and you try and make it work. It is going to be Token on the Sojourn. Obviously, he's been favoring that hero a lot, but they are going to be both running the Junker Queen, which makes perfect sense. QWOW on the Tracer for the first real time this match. Should be very interesting to see what they can get done. But it is going to be, we're going to be focused on Lord of Terrans and Super BH once again to see who gets the better of that. And then I think Token, I feel like Token could be the difference maker here on the Sojourn. The rest of the teams are very even, players are very evenly matched. We know Kama and QWOW are dueling and back and forth, but it seems like Token's had a little bit of a better match on the Sojourn than Chloe has so far.
I'm very interested in this Tracer versus Reaper matchup as well. Tracer can confirm kills so well, but doesn't offer that same sort of threat onto the Junker Queen that's coming in. Super BH is going in there. Very aggressive, and QWOW starts to put pain to any of the lower HP bars. It frees Junker Queen up for a little bit of a turnaround, come back to the rest of the players, and Lord of Terrans is still being a nuisance over there. Going to get confirmed out, leaves Nova for a long TP back. Freaky take first point, and all on the back of they ran it hard and hit harder.
I think it was Chloe though who set that up for them. I think she put a huge grenade in the backline because there was a lot of HP that was kind of drifting away quite a lot, and so it allowed Super BH to get aggro, throw in an axe. He hit a couple of players, and from there it was pretty easy cleanup with the help of QWOW. So really solid play from Freaky to start off with.
Again, a nice big disruption start. This one actually hits onto the side, and Freaky the ones now having to backpedal as they lose person after person. All of their speed out right now, and Super BH died immediately. He just exploded in the beginning of that fight.
Yeah, not for the first time, it has to be said. We saw it happen in Kings Row a lot. And again, I'm not sure what's causing that. We saw how aggressive he plays though on their first attack, right? He kind of runs past Terran into the enemy backline, which is a very risky way to play. This is a very split team fight at the moment, the Ultras and Freaky. They've got QWOW in the backline there. The team's trying to beat away, but they are coalescing nicely now as a unit on the side of Tokstarters.
QWOW doesn't have the best angle, wants to try and get closer a little bit more. Has actually got round. Brig maybe not the best target, but you just kind of maybe create some distraction, make someone turn away from Super BH who's in the front line. Tox keeping everyone topped up really well. The consistency of this healing and allows for the turnaround. They flex, they hold a multi-pronged attack, and now they can push forward, realizing that this one angle's a little bit lower. Freaky confirmed nothing at the beginning, and Tokstarters maintain the progress.
Yeah, this is so important to get this forward spawn cap now. It means that the enemy team has to win multiple team fights in a row just to even things up. If they can get even 1 meter of movement here across the line, it gives you so much power. Because you know that even if they cap their own forward spawn on the other side, they still have to push it that little bit more. They do have the overcharge now. They've got a lot else to work with on both teams. It'll be a very explosive team fight.
QWOW really wants to get the stick, but has found the worst target in the Juno. Can't confirm it. Going to try chase for the length of this. Nice. Big fight starting to embroil behind this, though, as Super BH unleashes the rampage. Needs a little bit of help, but seems to have lots more people left over as Chloe railgun from the top rope shuts down Karma in the middle of the ultimate, and Freaky walk away happy with that one.
A really solid play from Chloe. They copped a bit of flack from me throughout the series, I admit that, but showing up nicely when it matters most in game number 5. Still a lot of ults to work with from Freaky. That was a pretty lean fight from then. Only the Pulse Bomb and the Rampage used, so they can come into this and look to win. Super BH though needs to be careful. He's going to be kept healthy, and now they can look to get aggressive here. Wants to take down Terran Lord. Will ignore him in fact and try and get on the backline, but the Orbital Ray keeping everyone healthy.
Token standing their ground with this railgun, and the ultimate was dropped, the orbital ray from Jace, but again, too late into a lost fight, changes nothing. Tokstarters, like you say, they're going to be able to run this back quickly and deny that forward spawn.
Yeah, getting that forward spawn is so important on pushes. If they, like I say, it just gives you 2-3 seconds to mount another defense as the robot stops on that point. Now we see them get aggressive here. Super BH starts off with a kill.
Yeah, but he's missed his big axe there, so he's going to have to slow down and wait for some cooldowns. Still manages to use that shotgun to great effect there. Not a short-range character. And got lots of teammates waiting at the top of the hill, ready to back him out. Him versus Lord of Terrans. Unfortunately, Lord of Terrans all alone. And Freaky at least stopped the push quickly enough. They're getting more of the momentum, I would say.
Yeah, that was a very, very, very important teamfight win right there. Not getting pushed all the way back to the furthest extent of Toxtada's progression means they've now got time to push in and gain forward momentum here on the point. They should be able to secure this forward spawn, and they will do that, I guess. Oh, they already did it previously. I was not paying attention to that. Apparently, the teamfight will unfold here on Rampage.
Of course, Super BH comes in slicing through to set the tempo. All he needs is the time to line it up, and nothing else required as Freaky clean that off again without a casualty.
Yeah, perfect ultimate there from Super BH, catching everybody. No Suzu available for Toxtardus. Nova Queen has been the only one running that hero consistently, and it makes it so much harder for Lord of Terrans to get value out of his Rampage when compared to Super BH. Super BH needs to be careful here. He's playing aggro, but he's dropping low. Will need to back up now into the grasp of his own team.
And unfortunately, that grass might not be far enough. Rampage goes through, and one person, Big Suzu, to cleanse it all off. So Freaky's certainly not out of this fight right now. And they take down Lord of Terrans mid-swing of the axe. Toxtardus was still alive, led by this two support, claiming these elusive kills who are trying to clean up the back line. And they're going to stay alive long enough to turn Freaky aside. They've got a long way to go, though.
They do, and they have to win at least one, maybe two team fights to start building up a lead of their own here. With 4 minutes left on the clock, still plenty of play left in this game. Rally at the ready, Kama with the Death Blossom. I think that's going to be the key ultimate here. Super BH halfway towards his own ultimate, so it wouldn't shock me to see him get the Rampage in this fight and try and pop it off.
Oh, Kiriko had to TP in there to support the Junker Queen, and Nova ends up giving their life for it. That means there's no Suzu to stop this Death Blossom or any of the amounts of damage coming through. Kama needs to be careful. Does decide to back out for just long enough to get some heals. The rest, actually going to get claimed there. Some big damage coming at the end, but still Freaky on the deficit, and that didn't cost Toxtardus anything.
Yeah,
that cost him the rally.
That was pretty much perfect from their perspective, because now they will start to move. They should overturn the lead. No, they're going to play aggressive here. They're going to try and protect the lead, Freaky, and I think that's probably the right decision, especially if they can start fights like that.
Oh, Token is a big amount of damage, a lot of the confirmed kills, and you can see Freaky, they want to charge all the way up the hill. They're going to throw the Rampage, but I think it missed everyone. Still close to the distance, but right now there's a lot coming out the other way. Orbital Raid to start off the fight out of Toxtardus. You're also seeing Kama looking for that Death Blossom in the back line. Good flex so far, but you've left Super BH behind just too far, too quickly, and Freaky get punished for it.
Well, Reaper needs to be careful here, not paying attention to the window. Will spot it out and move back. Needs to jump. He doesn't get the jump up onto the high ground, and Cubov will go down. That could end up being a disaster here for Freaky's attempts to hold on to this lead as the car pushes ever closer. What stopped Super BH was a whip shot, I think, into the back of the bus there, so we didn't end up getting the momentum forward. But here comes a bunch of ultimates.
Well, now at least Toxtardus drop everything. They somehow didn't actually have the lead, it looks like. They're like 0.101 meters away. But they're going to confirm it now. That was what they've been saving up for the whole time.
Yeah, and with 2 minutes left on the clock, this is really, really disastrous for Freaky. It takes like 3 or 4 wins net positive for Freaky to try and get back to building a lead of their own here. With 2 minutes left on the clock, they're running out of time. They've got the overcharge available here from Toxtardus on the back line.
That's big. Freaky was just coming up to the ultimates. The only one Toxtardus had was Token, and Token was so low halfway through that fight that just teleporting in Reaper from the off angle. So all that Freaky needs to drop. That's a wonderful fight for them. Like you said, still lots of work to do. That's a beautiful way to start, and you even get the railgun out, the overcharge.
Yeah, that is really nice. Now they're moving in here. Super BH, he's got the Rampage. We've seen how good he is with that ability. No Suzu, again, to remind everybody, on the side of Freaky. So if he sees an opportunity, he can just fire it out and get a couple of kills, try and secure a couple of kills. Overcharge at the ready as well. But here comes Super BH.
He's going forwards, he looks backwards and gets back to his team while applying the anti-heal. There's a speed boost ring from the Juno up, and that's going to allow Freaky to close all the distance. Some people have gotten back to full health, and Unfortunately for them, the rest of their team are falling down behind them. Blur trying desperately to lead the charge into the team, but can't get anything more than just the token kill on Chloe.
And Sox here, trying to keep his team alive, but he's going to get taken down eventually. Super BH, too good at this stage. Already 40% up towards another rampage. Really, really dominating here. But now, this next fight is going to be the key one. They're fighting into the Orbital Ray. Toxin Sox has been good on the Judo at keeping the team healthy, and the Orbital Ray will push them forward here. But Q-Wov almost at the Death Blossom. If he gets this Death Blossom up and finds value, that might be the end of the game.
There's the Orbital Ray counted out by the Kitsune Rush, so both teams going to be doing a lot, but unfortunately Freaky's going to have most of their stuff undone by that healing effect. Doing more damage isn't going to help, and Toxstarders decide to just take this as the opportunity to run forward. Oh, no. That's it. Doesn't manage to get the touch. Toxstarders had the lead. Time is up. Toxstarders going to be carrying on in the Talon Cup of the game number 1. Freaky pull it all the way to the game 5. They tried for the reverse sweep. They were so close to the reverse sweep.
I think they won the second one. No, I think it was back and forth. Reverse sweep wasn't on, but still, what a fun matchup to see play out. We were kind of wondering how the tanks would match up, and I think we kind of got what we were hoping for, a very, very even matchup between the two tanks. There were times where Lord of Terrans dominated, there were times where Super BH dominated, but at the end of it all, unfortunately for our team, our losing team, whose name is now just left my brain, Freaky, thank you, it is going to be Toxstarders who come out on top. And a team who have the temperament to keep pushing forward. I think I would love to have seen how this goes without Parasox being subbed out, because I feel like what does Blur bring that Parasox does, and how is he affecting this team? It's really impossible for us to say without being in their comms and in their heads in a way. But they kind of galvanized on that push point, won a few key team fights and pushed their way to a lead that ended up being unassailable. So really, really great stuff from Toxstarders. Sad to see Super BH and the rest of Freaky go home. A lot of new faces on that team. Q-Wov, Chloe Can Play, who are now exiting the tournament, but always glad to see new faces perform, and I think Q-Wov especially turned a few heads throughout the tournament.
You know, something that was nice for Freaky is I think that could be a very potent team if they spend more time together and actually have to carry this forward. You know, I think they've got a difficult play style to manage, like very limit testing, and you only get that with a lot more comfort. So for a community cup like this, they're great players. They got a good idea. They just haven't played enough together to make it work properly.
Especially behind a player like Super B.
Yeah, exactly, right? He requires so much synergy, so much backup. He takes a lot of trust that takes time to earn. So yeah, it would be nice to see more of these guys, and I do hope every one of the members of that team do stick around in the COWZA scene. Yeah, Toxstarders just they're more experienced as individual players, and something that I said at the beginning before I ask you for MVP, because I've got a weird one for MVP. When I first looked at this Toxstarders side yesterday before you joined us on the broadcast, I said the way that it pairs up is very interesting. You got Tox and Terran who provide that very core, solid foundation between the tank and the main support. You got Leilu, who's again very proficient, very experienced, can stay alive. So you've got them together, and then you got the duo of Karma Token, who had to come in as the DPS role and make a big impact. This was the first game that I felt by the end of it that they really did. They really pulled up to the level of the rest of their team and played their part.
Yeah, I think we kind of pointed that out, maybe not in so many words, but that was our question, is we know how good Tox is, we know how good Lord of Terrans is, and we saw how good he was, but the follow-up just wasn't there, and the follow-up comes from the DPS. But here, they were able to flex their muscles. So for me, the MVP is going to be one of those DPS, and for me, I think I'm going to give it to Token, because I think he was the difference between the two teams. I think he got the wool over Chloe more often than not, and I think that was a big part of what pushed them forward. Because yes, Karma was good a lot of the time, but he had moments where Q-Wov was matching him stride for stride and beating him out comfortably, whereas I think Token was consistently getting more value out of the heroes that he played, and he had more flexibility to move on to something like